Welcome, Anquinette Q. Sarpo. Q spent 20 years as a TV journalist and news anchor in Indiana, Las Vegas, Boston, and Detroit. After 8 years as the morning anchor for Fox 2 Detroit, Sarpo retired due to multiple sclerosis. Through changes in diet and using cannabis, Sarpo went from taking 9 medications a day to taking none, and is an advocate for teaching others on how to lessen their dependency on pharmaceuticals. Candace Dorsey is one of 10 women who shaped the state honorees, and she's also the Empowerment Self-Defense Program Manager at the University of Michigan. Since starting her career at the U of M in 2017, Candace has migrated into the community engagement team within the Department of Public Safety, where she provides self-defense workshops, in addition to partnering with colleagues offering active attacker, workplace violence, and personal safety workshops to the university community. And Megan Strothman, Medical Director and owner of Natural Wellness and Pain Relief Center. It's a private, multidisciplinary, integrative medical practice in Grand Blanc. It focuses on bioidentical hormones, hyperbaric medicine, thyroid care, and gastrointestinal diseases, and reducing inflammation. She is also the founder and executive director of Ireland's Dream, which is dedicated to treating children with cerebral palsy with progressive medical care to help them advance their lives. Well, please join me in welcoming our great panel today. All right. Okay, we're going to kick up some questions for our panel, and I'm going to open this up to anyone who wants to take it. The importance of mental health has been more recognized since the pandemic. What steps do you take to stay mentally healthy? Time out. I do my time out at night. I always, every single night before I go to bed, I take time to read. I usually read things that are lighthearted because reading things that are heavy, that's not a timeout. Yeah. That's not good. So I actually have Family Good by Paul Reiser on my stand right now because he's hilarious. And I take a good time out. I have a very busy life. I have 4 children and none of them can drive yet. And that's, one of them is physically disabled, so that's different, and it's just crazy. Everything's crazy. So last night I took my time out. I may or may not have been playing a game on my phone, and my husband snores, and I take my time out. I just think that's really, really important. Excellent.
I did recently, I shouldn't say recently, a couple of years ago, I started using the Calm app. And it's really, really beneficial. It's something about meditation also, because I have MS, it's mindfulness helps. So I imagine that I don't have lesions in my brain. But also when I retired, it was suggested that I start seeing a neuropsychologist. And I did start seeing a neuropsychologist, and at the end of every session, he would say, "What are you doing for fun?" And I never had an answer. And so he's like, you have to do something for fun. And so now I do something for fun. 4 times a week, I treat it like a job, and I'm trying to learn I am learning how to ride dressage. I'm learning how to ride a horse. And so 4 times a week, I'm at the barn at 9 o'clock in the morning. But it's my fun. It's my being a little kid playing in the dirt again, and that's my joy. So that's what, and then I get back to reality when I leave the barn. But that's my little piece of fun.
Love that.
For me, I found myself lying in bed. Well, first I do the timeout because I put myself in timeout and I just get tired of TV and I just go lay down. So that was my timeout. And I find myself lying in my bed looking out of the ceiling and just relaxing. And I had been doing it for probably a couple of months before I realized this probably qualifies for meditation, right? And I just embraced it because I found myself able to relax. So that's one of the things I find myself doing all of the time. I like to read, so reading a good book. I try to put the phone down, but sometimes those games are a little addictive. So I'll do that as well, but, and I like walking as well. So exercising is good. I don't like it. Some of you agree with that, but it's a necessary evil. So that's what I do.
Wonderful, and actually you just set me up for my next question. So mental health is important, but also physical health. So what do you do to stay active and take care of yourself? So I do go to the gym. I know, sorry for those of you, some people just look at me and they're seriously at the gym. I do go to the gym. I don't like to run. I actually hate running. So I walk really, really, really fast on the treadmill, and the whole time I'm doing it, I just think of all the things. I won't lie. Sometimes I answer emails on the treadmill. Sometimes I'll call a friend while I'm on it. It distracts me because I don't like it, and so it's good to distract myself. But I lift weights and I do that. I also take an adult dance class, which is really fun. Which is really, really fun. I really like it. That's a good form of, I don't even think about it and the hour's over. So that's a really good one for me.
I have to ask, what kind of dance?
It's hip hop. It is. And it's really fun. And the funny part is, I start singing the songs like the Shots song, Shots. And I get home and my kids are like, "Wow, Mom knows hip hop songs." And I'm like, "They're good songs. They're great to dance to."
I try to tell myself that riding horses is active, but he's doing more than I am, let's be realistic. I do, you do a lot with your legs, and so I do squeeze a lot to get move over and stuff. But I also have 3 dogs, and I should walk them more. And I used to walk them a lot, but then winter came, and I live on a dirt road because Michigan has lots of dirt roads. And so I don't walk them necessarily in the winter so much, but I want to get back to that. And I used to teach spinning, and so I did invest in a Peloton, which is never used. I'm paying $44 a month. I'm never on this thing. It's like, my husband's on the treadmill. I'm like, yeah, have fun with that. I'll be at the barn. So thank you for reminding me. I need to reactivate that activity because in the MS community they say if you want to keep walking, then keep walking. So walking is so important. So don't ever beat yourself up for just walking. Actually, it's better than running. I did 2 marathons and realized I hate running. Yeah, I hate running. Yeah, so don't run. It's walk.
Okay, so I think my job title is going to speak within itself. Empowerment, self-defense. I teach people how to be violent. Beautiful, right? So, I started teaching self-defense, I've been teaching 27, 28 years now. And I started out teaching a women's self-defense class. And I didn't understand or realize how powerful that was. I freaking love it, right? So I was able to retire from my job, and they teach me to teach people to be violent for a living, right? So I love that, just the empowerment of it and folks understanding what they have the ability to do and understanding how they can move their bodies and make choices and decisions when things start to go bad and take control of their lives. There's just nothing like it, right? I also play volleyball. So I wait till I'm 50 plus to start getting into these physical skills, and I enjoy it. I love volleyball, I love teaching self-defense. I took a tennis class last year, it wasn't pretty. It involves running, which I don't like, so I think we're good on that.
I think we're all unanimous.
Yeah.
None of us want to do any running.
So volleyball is my thing, and then again, the teaching self-defense thing is.
Candace, I am fascinated by your background in teaching self-defense and those classes. I mean, obviously you're teaching people women to protect themselves, but what else do you hope they get out of those classes in that time with you?
So, okay, real talk, last year, I took a jiu-jitsu class. I am so used to being the old lady in the room now. I was the oldest woman in this room, right? I go into this training, and it's probably 125 people in the room, maybe 10 women, and I'm the old lady. So, you know, I gotta represent, yes? And I made it through the class with an injury to my knee. I don't know how I did it, but you know, when I talk about the class, I say almost died. I feel like I almost died. So, okay, I made it through the class. But the thing about self-defense in me and my women going through the class, watching the light bulb moments when you talk to someone about how they can take control over things that are happening in their lives. And, you know, we're kind of raised to believe that we need permission to do certain things, right? And when I say certain things, I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. You know, it's those moments when I start talking about, you know, walking to your car or paying attention to your instinct. And when something feels off and it feels wrong, it's freaking off and wrong, right? We can't be wrong about that. If I ask, I'm not going to, but if I ask the room, how many of you have had those instinctual moments and you followed through and you were like, oh my God, that was such the right thing to do, right? And I mean, many lessons over the years of instinct and trusting that. Trust your instinct, ladies, and trusting that. And it's just so empowering for me to see women that come in a room, their heads are down, shoulders are down, and when they walk out the room, they feel like ninjas. It's pretty beautiful, right? Just recognizing what we have the ability to do, and it's okay to say no. It's okay that I feel like I feel, and I don't have to validate that with anybody. That's what really does it for me a lot of times in teaching these classes.
That's fantastic. Q, you talked about the importance of resilience, and you faced some serious health challenges in your life. How do you use resilience, and how important is that to keep going?
It helps to not have a choice. You know, sometimes you just have to get up and just do what you need to do. But I guess I don't want to say it's part of me, but I guess it's just a part of me. I look at my background. You know, my mother was she grew up in Mississippi in the 50s. You know. Came to Indiana, got a job, lost her job during, you know, everything that happened in the 80s. And so it's hard to, I can't look at my mom and say, well, I'm gonna give up because she didn't. So you just have to you know, be the daughter your mother raised, you know, since we're a day after Mother's Day, and keep pushing forward. And I'm lucky, you know, that I have a support system. You know, I have a supportive husband. I have supportive, you know, family. But at the end of the day, you're going to either wallow in self-pity and do nothing, or get up and move on, because the hard times don't last forever. You don't feel sick all the time. You know, you feel sick a lot of the times, but you don't feel sick all the time. So you get up and you do what you can, and that tends to make you feel better. So rising above it tends to make you feel better. And also, in my mind, I'm competitive with myself. So I can't go out like that. So just get up and keep moving, because I'm just not going to allow myself to go out like that.
Great, thank you. Megan, first of all, those boots are amazing. Everyone can see Megan's boots, but Megan, and you launched Ireland's Dream. Tell us about that and what your motivation was and what your goal is for this.
I have to try to do this without crying. Because it's hard. So Ireland's Dream is named after my daughter Ireland, who was born in a very tragic manner. She had what's called a cord prolapse. So for those of you in the room who don't know what that means, it means that her umbilical cord actually came out before her head came out. And if you think about that, if your head comes down on your umbilical cord, what's going to happen, right? So she cut off her oxygen, her own oxygen, and there's nothing obviously she could do about it. And so she, due to that fact, she survived, obviously, as the name of the foundation implies, but it wasn't without difficulties. They told me that she would be impaired. They told me that she would have issues, and instead of just swallowing that and saying, oh, okay, she's gonna have issues, we're gonna just go with that, my husband and I fought against it. So she does have cerebral palsy, and cerebral palsy is caused by that lack of oxygen. It causes basically brain damage. So to just make it very simple, cerebral palsy is brain damage. It can be from something in utero, during the delivery, or just after. So as my husband and I took Ireland around to therapy, what I really was bothered by the most was the fact that the therapies provided to her were just palliative care, things to make her just be able to function, basically, and nothing that was progressive, because in this day and age, still, even though we have, people who are showing us differently, they're convinced that brain injuries really don't have a lot of hope. And so my husband and I were bound and determined that that wasn't going to be the way it was for our daughter. So we have taken her to many, many, many places to get her care, to progress her. They told me she would only ever sit really in a wheelchair and really would not do very much at all. And my daughter, with a lot of help, goes to dance class. My daughter crawls, she eats soft foods, and she does a lot of really amazing things. She goes to school. She is homeschooled, but it's school to us because she is in the proper grade and she does really well. Sometimes people don't believe us, but they actually did a news article on her last week, and they even quoted in the article that she did 20 division problems in less than 4 minutes and got them all right. So she's 11 years old. Yeah, she's just the sweetest thing. So anyway, I complained to my husband a lot that I thought it was ridiculous that we were taking her to all these therapies and these other children couldn't get therapy because they couldn't afford it. Most of the therapies are completely out of pocket. There is no insurance coverage for them whatsoever. So we found ourselves going to Toronto, spending upwards of $2,000 a weekend for this care. And I just said I would complain a lot that it was ridiculous other children couldn't get the care. And then one day we were driving to work and he said, you know what? I filed paperwork with a lawyer. Ireland's Dream's a thing, and you're the executive director. Enjoy. And I was just like, so that's where I am today. And we have been working towards our goal, and I don't want to talk too much because it's going to take up too much time. But we're working right now. We bought 19 acres through fundraising. We bought 19 acres of land, and we are fundraising regularly and seeking out large corporate donors to build a 40,000 square foot therapy facility, along with a residence hall, kind of like a Ronald McDonald House, so that everyone has a place to stay. And also, we want to build a very large, an Olympic-sized swimming pool so that we can also partner with Special Olympics. and do those things too. So, yeah, it's a huge undertaking, but it's been so rewarding.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan, for sharing that. It's a beautiful story. I have another question for the group. All of us in this room as women have faced adversity in one format or another. So what's your one most important piece of advice that you would share with everyone today? Whoever wants to kick off.
Mine is short and sweet. Fall down 7, get up 8. No, Japanese proverb, I think, but yeah, just keep getting up.
That's it.
Keep trying. Something will stick.
I guess mine would be, and I think we said this earlier, I did a round table before I got here. It's okay to feel fear, challenge yourself, and just freaking do it, right? There's nothing worse than being told no and that you can't. And all of us have heard that at one point in time in our careers, right? So we know better now, so we do better.
A million doors will slam, but it's okay. Keep going, because you will find a million more that will open. It used to be really hard for me to ask for donations, to ask for sponsorships, to ask for, and then one day I stepped back and I said, what's the worst they're gonna say to me? No. I mean, what else can they do? I had a man chase me out of his winery, like yelling at me. He couldn't believe I asked for a discount. We have a very large formal event every year, and it's not beneath me anymore to say, hey, can I maybe just get a little cut off that? So, because it's for a charity event. And he did, he like yelled at me and literally screamed at me. It was crazy. And so after that happened, I was like, okay, seriously, there's really nothing else that could happen any crazier than that. So we're just gonna keep going. So, just truly a million slam doors. It's okay, you'll have 1,000,005 more and they'll be open.
Did you get the line from
I never got the line from him. And I won't name names.
Thank you. So let's talk about a support system, because I do think that is an important part for all of us. Who is your support system, and what are the things that you go to them for?
Probably from what I've already said, you guys can surmise that my husband is a huge support system for me. He's my rock. He really is. And he and I also run our business together, which people always comment to us how strange they think that is, because they're like, I could work with my husband if you paid me, I'd kill him. And he and I, we work well together. The things that he's good at, he was actually, before I came up here, he was asking me an accounting question, because you know what, he knew that I didn't file the taxes yet for the charity this year, because they're not due till end of May. And I'm horrible about it, and I procrastinate because I don't like doing it, but he steps up and does it for me. So he fills in the gaps. He's great for that. So he's a huge support. He's my biggest support, honestly. I do have friends, and I do have family members that are awesome. My mom's always been awesome. Listening to these ladies talk about their moms. My mom's the same way. My father was killed in a car accident when I was 4 years old, a couple weeks before Christmas, a week before my sister's birthday. It was horrific. And instead of my mom falling apart, she jumped up on our John Deere and cut our 10 acres of grass, by herself. She's like, no, world's going on, guys, we're going on. So she was a huge role model in my life when it comes to women stepping up and doing their thing faced with adversity. And when she came to the hospital after I had Ireland, I just looked at her. She sat down next to me and she just looked at me and I said, you were one heck of a crap magnet. I mean, for real, you were, everything crazy happens to you. I'm like, what the heck, Mom? And So yeah, we have to have those rocks for sure, my husband and my mom.
And you're,
Can your husband talk to my husband? And so he's my biggest support, both with my illness and with the business. We also are running a business together. I started my CBD line Culture with a Q because he was doing other things, and so now he was doing a grow, and so we're in arbitration with that grow, and so now he's helping me more with culture. And it's been a challenge. It's been, but I definitely need his help, and so we've had to work through some kinks, mainly delegating responsibilities and tasks. So once everyone knows their lane, that's much better. But yeah, same with my husband, my mother, and my sister. And I'm one of those people. It's really hard for me to ask for help. And I've found that if you ask, chances are you will get it. And that's the only way you're going to get it. And I have really great friends, and so my friends will, say, I see you're doing this, and do you need any help? I'm like, I'm so glad you asked. Yes, yes, I do. But I've been lucky and blessed. I even have people just randomly offer to help. I put on a tea party last year. It's 170 people. It was oversold. People were just showing up. And I just had this random woman contact me on Facebook and just say, if you need someone to just come and help you out for that tea party, I'm willing to do it for free. And I said, yes, I paid her, but I needed the help. So sometimes it's really hard to accept help when it's offered. And I've found out that I should just say, yes, please, and thank you. Yes, so accept the help when it's offered, and ask for the help when you need it. That's how I've been able to maintain.
And I guess I would piggyback off that. For me, family and friends, support. And when you have like-minded people around you that believe in the same thing that you believe in, and they honestly want you to be successful in what you're doing. And I find myself, and I'm sitting up here thinking about this just as you were talking, there's some other things going on with my job currently, and I actually vocalized some things about a week ago, and it was one of those, you hit send in the email, you're like, but they actually listened, right? So I know, right? So it just, that made me feel supported and validated in what I've been doing for most of my life as far as work. Having people respect what you do, believe in what you do, and understand there's a point to it, right? This is not, we're making people's lives better is the goal. We want people more comfortable. And I would love for everybody to walk around and feel as comfortable in their own skin as I do most of the time. I'm human, sometimes I don't. But my support system has always been my family. My mother has been my rock. Okay, I gotta give my brother a little street credit. But just a good working environment and a family friend support system.
Thank you. Candace, so you work within the Department of Public Safety, and you teach people how to protect themselves and be violent. Is that challenging as a woman?
No, it's not challenging as a woman. No, let me take that back. It's challenging when you meet someone that has physical limitations. That becomes challenging, and you just figure it out. I'll give you an example. So I also teach self-defense for an agency that's across the U.S. It's called RAD Systems, Rape Progression Defense Systems. I'm an instructor trainer for that program, and I had an instructor's class a couple of weeks ago in another state. I had a young lady that was in the class. Her feet would not go straight. Her feet went out like this. And she called it duck feet. And she couldn't do the techniques that I was trying to teach her, just basic techniques starting off. And when she explained to me what was going on with her physically, I turned around and looked at her and said, challenge accepted. She learned how to do that technique. So it's not challenging for me as a woman, but when I have people that come through my classes that have different physical disabilities, I've had a blind student, I've had people in wheelchairs, and really it's about, it's an empowerment piece. Everybody can do something. So, yeah.
Thank you. Q, you worked in TV journalism for 20 years, and now you're an advocate for cannabis and holistic and healthy living. Tell us about that transition. What was that like for you?
Well, I was diagnosed with MS about 10 years ago, and I was put on the standard protocol of disease-modifying treatment because there are no cures. Everything's a treatment that costs $100,000 a year. And unfortunately, though, those treatments just made me sicker. I was going to the hospital 3 times because I couldn't stop vomiting. And after the 3rd trip, my husband said, "Why don't you just smoke a joint?" And I was like, challenge accepted. And I smoked that joint. And I was upset. I was really, really angry because it took away my nausea and it gave me energy. And I was thinking, I was told, whoa, this is supposed to make me, a derelict of my mom's couch in the basement. And now I have my floors and 3 dogs, and I can get up and mop my floors and go to my job because I was working as a morning anchor at that point, so I had to be up at 3:30 and in the chair at 5 a.m. And so I'm driving down the highway in rollers, by the way, stopped by the cops numerous times. But no one's on the lodge at 4 in the morning, so that's just me. So I did, once I smoked the joint though, I also changed my diet. I became a health coach at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and really started looking into nutrition for health, because food is medicine. And changed my diet, weaned myself off of the 9 medications that I was up to at that point. And then got involved in the industry because I saw that people were being lied to. And in Michigan, you can actually grow this plant. So if you can't afford to buy it, you can grow it. And I wanted people to know that. So I got involved in legalization. We opened a provisioning center in Detroit, sold it, and now I have a CBD line, a multi-cannabinoid line. I became a caregiver here in Michigan and helped people make the products that they needed if they couldn't find them, and also help them find products at provisioning centers close to them. I've been called the cannabis fairy godmother, or the cannabis concierge. So yes, I can tell me your issue. I can tell you which products you need to get, and I can tell you we'll go to Weed Maps, and I will tell you which provisioning center has it close to you. And if you can't find those products, then chances are I may have them on my website at cultureclub.com, spelled with a Q, culture with a Q. So yeah, that's I got involved that way, and so I started helping people make products for themselves, and then I started making products, and now they're available online and in select provisioning centers, doctors' offices, and a few stores. So.
Wonderful. Megan, you're the medical director and owner of Natural Wellness Pain Relief Center. What is that exactly?
So I turned in my traditional medicine hat as a traditional doctor, and I use traditional, like your family doctor that you go to, gives you your medications when you're sick, to do something called functional or integrative medicine. I know, I just keep thinking, oh yeah, nice. So I turned that corner when my mom actually started going through menopause, and the woman looked like you threw her in the swimming pool when she'd have a hot flash. It was ridiculous. And I thought, oh geez, and she kept asking me, she had read Christian Northrup's book, and she kept saying, where do I get the bioidentical hormones from? I don't know. And so I went to these conferences, and you don't just learn bioidentical hormones there, you learn all of these other things. You learn, vitamin D, you learn magnesium, you learn all these really great things. And I thought to myself, well, this is really what I want to do. I really don't want to just stand on medication. This is not my thing. And so that's what I did. I literally took everything I had done for 4 years, went nope, and opened up a new medical center. And we have a hyperbaric chamber, and we do nutritional IVs, and I help people get their guts cleaned up so that their autoimmune diseases are either hardly an issue at all or gone. And so we do all these things to help people get better, not just give them medication to cover up the problem. So, which is fantastic. I absolutely love what I do now. And it's interesting because it was where my care for Ireland all snapped together, because when she was born, instead of just taking everything with a grain of salt and saying, oh, okay, I just have to do this is what's available, I sought out different care. I sought out more. And so that ended up really working in my favor. My husband's also part of my practice. Well, he's half a practice. And my husband does scoliosis care. So he helps children, mostly children, and some adults, get help for their scoliosis without having to do it surgically. And he does some pretty amazing things. He developed a suit to help them. It's basically a daily suit that they wear to help them with their pain, so that they don't have to be in pain day in and day out.
Excellent, thank you. I think we're ready to take some questions from the audience.
Saw someone say.
I don't think I really need this because I have a lot of work stuff. I'll use it. Miss Candace, can I take your class?
I never tell a woman no.
All right, I'll get with you after because I'm very interested.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your different stories you guys have, told about your professional journey. I had a question because we're talking about support networks and the importance of that. And as a woman professional, still kind of growing in my career, one of the biggest things that I was told is it's important to have a mentor. So with the support networks that you have, did you guys have any mentors that really helped position you when you were starting your, in this case, a career pivot, right? So the previous discussion that I was in was talking about, knowing when the time to change. So how important was your mentor in that decision that you made to establish your own business? And what advice would you have for anyone that's kind of going through the stages right now of really building their network and understanding how to mentor and have them be part of a supportive network?
Even if it's uncomfortable, if you see someone that you would like to have as a mentor, ask that person. Just be bold and ask that person. I have a mentor in the cannabis industry. Her name is Karen Lazarus. She's the owner of Sweet Mary Jane, which is a cannabis bakery in Boulder, Colorado. I found out about her because when I was on my short-term disability going into long-term disability, I had 6 months to just hang out at home, and so I started ordering cannabis cookbooks, and I ordered hers, and I just called. And my dad lives in Indiana, and so I came up with this idea to let's do this road trip to Boulder. Let's go, because at this time it was only medical here in Michigan. So we drove to Boulder, and I called her up and I said, "Can I just come to your bakery and just say hi?" and she said yes. And so my dad and I pull up to her bakery, and we had a great time. And she said, "You should do this." And I said, "Well, will you help me?" And she says yes. And so I moved back to Boulder. 6 months later, I spent a week at her bakery, learned how to make cannabis everything. She's a commercial baker, so everything was for the industry. And even to this day, I still call on her. My goal was to be in the THC market. The THC market here in Michigan is the prices are too all over the place right now. It's very cost prohibitive to get in the industry as a baker anyway. Gummies are selling on the wholesale market $2 a pack. So if I don't have my own place, I can't absorb that cost. And so she was the one who told me, switch to CBD. You can do CBD anywhere, it's not as restricted, people love it, it's still part of the plant, and there are many medicinal benefits to it. So she helped me with my pivot. And every once in a while, I called her crying. It's like, why didn't you tell me to not do this? But yeah, so find the people that you feel would be a good mentor. And I put on my reporter hat and I just bug them until they say no. Because when they say no, I'll accept the no, but you gotta tell me no.
Thank you.
We need directions up here. The one piece I wanted to add about the mentorship is that mentor should be somebody that's going to be very direct and straight with you and not tell you things because you want to hear it. It should be someone that's going to be deathly honest with you and tell you the things that you don't want to hear. I had the pleasure of meeting 2 faculty members in my undergrad and grad studies, and there was some turbulent times in my life and trying to raise this child by myself and make everything happen. And I wanted to quit a lot of times, and I found myself going to both of their offices at different times and just, the woe is me conversation, because I needed some direct talk, I needed some real talk, and had no idea that they were going to be as pivotal in my life as they were. So that mentor has to be someone that's not afraid to be honest and tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You got to hear all of it. And I practice that too when I mentor. I tell them all the things they don't want to hear.
Well, I think that concludes our program. I want to thank Megan and Q and Candace for sharing their experiences and their insights. This has been a fantastic conversation, and so we're going to take a short break now, and then I think it's lunchtime. So thanks, everyone.